Hello everyone, you are welcome to the Concepts of Biodiversity Conservation course. After the course, you will be able to state different levels of biodiversity and its definitions and describe the importance of genetic diversity and its depletion. So, due to the depletion, the species can be extinct and some of the new species can be appear and sometimes most of the species become threatened. Those kind of things you will be able to learn. And also, after this lecture series, you will be able to describe importance of genetic diversity and its uh, values. And you can see here different type of biodiversity in different way. It's important for your day-to-day life. And also you can learn about the ecosystem diversity and the species diversity separately, and also some legislative measures, and also you will be able to apply this knowledge uh, as an application to conserve the biodiversity. And when you look at these biological resources and associated knowledge, that will be useful for the commercial purposes and also for the research and biosurvey and bioutilization. And in the meantime, you can transfer this research that can be applied for the conservation of species in future. In this course evaluation, most of the part will be covered by the continuous assessment as like quizzes, homework, web post. In addition to that, there will be a 2 CAT exams. This portion is covering 60% of the content, and also at the end of the semester you will be able to sit for the final exam that will be able to get 40%. And these are the important days. These dates can be changed according to the situation. When you go through your handbook, you will be able to find this course. So the course content will cover basically the introduction part, the species concepts, use and values of biodiversity, conservation and management biodiversity, biological uh, conservation in uh, different ways, and the conservation practices and some legal measures. So let's move to the biodiversity definition. In a simple way, you will be able to explain this is the variation of organisms within their environment. So when it expanding, so then you will be able to uh, define as variety of organisms considered at all levels, from genetic level, species level and the ecosystem level. So for our convenience, there are 3 levels of biodiversity. The first one is the genetic diversity. So you can see uh, within the species or between the species, the variation of genes you can find, and then you will be able to find the different kind of species in the nature, that is the species diversity, and these species can live in different landscapes. So this is the ecosystem diversity. So all 3 levels are interconnected to each other. So therefore, we will be able to study separately these genetic diversity, species diversity and ecosystem diversity. When we move to the genetic diversity, you can see that is the variation of genes within the species. So when you look at this picture, you can see this is one particular plant. You can see the different coloration due to the genetic variation of this particular species. In the nature, you can find many examples. The most common is the elephant and the tusker. The elephant and tusker are the Elephas maximus maximus, one species, but morphologically different. It is due to the genetic variation. And another example, you can see here the shoe flowers. So different coloration. Look, you will be able to see these shoe flowers, that is due to the genetic variation. And let's move to the nature of the genetic diversity. So most of the time the information carried by the DNA. So when you look at the DNA, it's a double helix strain. It consists of different bases. So the bases are arranging in a sequence. So when the sequence change, so that you will be able to see the variation among these DNA. So therefore, the genetic pattern can be varied. So here the genes, it's important unit. So as you know, in our nucleus we have the chromosomes. These chromosomes build up by the different types of genes. So then this collection of this DNA shows the different sequences. So in a population, so you can find the single gene, and these single genes find in the chromosomes. These different chromosomes showing the genome. So genome has a gene pool. This gene pool you can find in a population. So when the gene pool is strong, that means that particular population has a variation. If the gene pool is weak, that means the variation of the genes are very low or weak. So therefore, gene pool is the most important unit in a population to see the variation. So when you look at this genetic diversity, that is the foundation for all higher level of biodiversity, and also this genetic diversity provides the receipts for population and species, which in turn form communities and the ecosystem. So this variation, this genetic variation enables evolutionary change and artificial selection. And also this genetic variation, they have the direct economic value, that is the genes for disease resistant, biologically active compounds, etc. But effective conservation for whatever purpose depends upon accurate, thoughtful assessment of genetic diversity. The preservation of genetic diversity is usually a high priority in conservation program. So when you look at the details of the variation within individuals, this is happening due to the crossover and recombination during the cell division. You can see the genes are crossover and then it appear in different way. So therefore, you can find in the even the same species, you can see the different variation. Like here in this particular example, fish species, the male female, the same species, but the morphologically it's different. So when we come to this nature of genetic diversity, there are two types. One is we call the homozygous. That means both alleles in an individuals are the same. In Heterozygous, that is two different alleles present in an individual for one gene. So homozygous over the time they are very similar, but the heterozygous totally different. Based on that, among the species you can find the monomorphic, that is the species are very similar. Even you can't identify the male female separately. And then we have the heterozygous, that is we call the polymorphic. So you can see in the same snail group the shell is different, that is the polymorphic. And when we move to the genetic variation, so without genetic variation, some of the basic mechanism of evolutionary change cannot operate. Three primary sources of genetic variation can be found. One is the mutation, gene flow, sex. But anyhow, there are 5 agents responsible for the evolutionary changes. First one is the mutation. Second one is the gene flow. Third one is the non-random mating, genetic drift, and the selection. So, when we look at the more details of the mutation and variation, you can see here this is the DNA strain. Once we expose to the UV light, these base pairs, the sequence can be changed. So because of this change, here can see the mutation. So what is the importance of having mutation? So if we having the mutation, that is causing a variation. So new mutation are constantly appearing. So especially here you can see the change of amino acid sequence and also changing the protein structure and the function. So therefore it's changed the fitness. When we look at the gene flow, you can see here the movement of individuals and alleles in and out of the populations. So you know most of the time seeds and the pollen distribution by winds and the insects. So therefore their genetic materials are changing. So that means it's dispersing the long distance. Similarly, the animals also migrating. So therefore the genes are flowing. That means it's not exist in the same place. It's moving due to the migration. Now, in subpopulations may have different allele frequencies. So that is causing due to the genetic mixing across the region. So therefore reduce differences between the population. Like for an example, take this the picture. You can see this is the Homo sapiens sapiens. So they are here different appearance, the different populations in different regions. So that means the gene is flowing one region to the another. So when you look at this example, you can see here you can find the population 1, then the population 2, there is a geographical barrier. The geographical barrier is the mountain range. So when you look at the western deer population and the eastern deer population, you can see here the different coloration. So here they are passing and mixing. So therefore automatically the gene flow is becoming strong. Another one is the non-random mating, that is the sexual selection. So the most strongest one is selecting for that particular herd or a group or a troop. So then their genetic materials can flow to the next generation. So that is the strongest genes are flowing to the next generation. So therefore, especially when you look at this genetic diversity, the outputs and the inputs are there. So outputs are the random loss and the selection, inputs are the migration and the mutation. So because of that, or the most of the time, genetic variation can be happen this is happening very slowly because the diversity accumulates very slow, and also diversity constantly lost through the random. So because of that, the inbreeding can be happen. If the inbreeding happens, so automatically the diversity can be reduced. And especially all individuals reproduce each generation, so therefore genetic diversity will decrease through random process, and without input of new diversity, new offsprings will be more related each generation, the population will become more inbreed. And there are some values of a locus on individual genetic variation. So that means they reflect the action of natural selection. Inbreeding can be occur. Genotype important for captive breeding measures the individuals and summed over the populations.